I've let someone in, but they're not connecting to audio. I'm gonna let Grit in too. Oh, there we go. Good morning. Good morning, caller. I'm gonna put you on mute. Good morning, Grit. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Good morning.
All right, Mayor Latchford, we're ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Due to COVID, we're still in our Zoom meetings. Hopefully, this is the last planning meeting and we can get back to regular open meetings in September. So you'll be placed on mute and until we have the public portion. During the public meeting portion of the proceedings, the following procedure will be taken for each application. I'll announce the application in order as listed on the agenda. Jennifer Current, Senior Planner, will summarize her findings and give recommendations. The applicants to the application being considered will be asked if they wish to add any further information or comments. All participants will be unmuted for this portion of the proceedings if they wish to speak. The public will be asked if they wish to make any comments on the application. In order to recognize the chair, please approach by stating through you, Madam Chair, leave your name and that you would like to make a comment regarding the application. Once I've recognized you, you may be able to speak. So I'd like to call the meeting to order at 9:18 this morning. And I'll read the territorial land acknowledgement first. Before our meeting gets underway, I would like to formally recognize the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Alderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Almac-Haldeman is located on the Mississauga and Anishinaabe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. The Township of Almac-Haldeman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. Approval of the agenda is circulated. Be it resolved that the municipal planning meeting of Thursday, July 29th be approved as circulated. Could I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Second? Councillor Booth. So moved by Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Booth. All in favor? You can do a show of hands. Carried. Approval of our minutes of June 24th, 2021. Be it resolved that the municipal planning meeting minutes of Thursday, June 24th, 2021 be approved. Unless, is there any reason to not approve them? Don't see any. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Okay. Second? Councillor Phillips. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn to a land division committee of adjustment meeting. Be it resolved that the council of the Township of Almac-Haldeman, being a land division committee of adjustment, adjourn to a land division committee of adjustment meeting for the purpose of hearing a consent applications at 9:20 a.m. This consent, item 7, Renaud Chute AH-10 2021, was previously on another meeting, and so there isn't a need for this this application to be made public for public comments again. So it's concession 7, part of lot 24, geographic Almec, vacant rural residential lot, and it was brought forward at the May 27th, 2021 meeting. So it was asked to be brought back. The public portion of this application and rezoning are done. So we don't have anything else that we have to do publicly for this, correct, Jennifer?
Through you, Mayor Latchford, that's correct. The public meeting was previously held on May 27th, 2021, and a decision was deferred at that meeting.
Yes, okay, so council has asked for this to come back. So council, what's your wishes on this? Or have you got any? Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Yeah, through you, Chair. I don't have anything more to add than what we already discussed May 27th and June 24th. And I'd be happy to put forward a motion to approve the severance of the parcel of land for the vacant rural residential lot.
Okay. Can I have a second?
I'll second that, Councillor Hogg.
Any further discussion? Okay. This would then be, as far as council is concerned, allowing the entrance at some point on the retained. There has to be an entrance on the retained. Okay. No further discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Through you,
Yes.
Mayor Latchford.
Yes.
I am assuming that Councillor Gibson would like this consent to be granted conditionally upon our standard conditions.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the standard conditions here. If you would like me to read the conditions to this consent. So I believe Councillor Gibson's motion is to approve the severance as applied for, subject to the following conditions. That a registered survey for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. Further to the printed plan of survey, a closed polygon vector file of the part boundaries shown on the reference plan is to be provided in spatially referenced Autodesk DWG Windows readable format to the satisfaction of the township. It is recommended that the applicant's Ontario land surveyor consult with the County of Northumberland GIS section to confirm acceptable standards and formatting. That a draft transfer for the severed parcel be submitted to the township. That the tax account for the subject property be paid up to date, that a zoning bylaw amendment be in effect for the severed parcel pursuant to the Planning Act, that the $10,205.70 development charge.
You're on mute, Jennifer. Or you went on, yeah.
Oh, so was I on mute for the whole thing?
No.
No, just the last sentence. You probably have a rogue mouse there or something.
I think I did. Sorry, I apologize. That the $10,205.70 development charge for the severed lot be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman, and that the $1,500 cash in lieu of parkland fee be paid to the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman.
Good. I'm in agreement to add that into my motion as per what Jennifer has read out.
Okay. Any further comments from council? All in favor? I'll call for the vote. Any opposed? One opposed. The motion's
No.
carried. No?
Yeah. No, I'm in favor.
Okay. Carried unanimously. Okay, our next item on the agenda is motion to reconvene to the municipal planning meeting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman, being a land division committee of adjustment, reconvene to the municipal planning meeting at 9:26. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Phillip,
Counselor Hogg.
Okay, moved by Councillor Hogg, second by Councillor Phillip. All in favor? Carried. Now we're going into the public meetings for the zoning applications. We have a little bit to read here. The purpose of this portion of the meeting is to hear applications for zoning bylaw amendments. The public zoning is conducted as prescribed by Section 3413 of the Planning Act as amended. There are 3 listed here on the agenda. Does that mean now that we're adding a 4th, Rennie Shute? Because we had it at the last meeting in May.
Through you, Mayor Latchford, that item was brought forward in this section under items from previous minutes, arising from previous minutes.
Oh, okay. I saw that. I just wanted to make sure that that's what was going to happen. Thank you. So we have 3 zoning bylaw amendments, applications affecting land in the geographic township of Alnwick. The meeting will be conducted in the following manner. Firstly, I will identify the application being considered. The senior planner will then provide a brief overview of the details of the application. The applicant will then be given an opportunity to address council. 2, I will ask if there are any members of the public in attendance who have questions or comments regarding the application. If you wish to speak to the application, please state your name and address for the record prior to addressing the committee. And that committee will then be asked to provide any comments or questions. If anyone other than the applicant who wishes to receive further notice of council's decision on these applications, please submit a written request for notice of council's decision to the senior planner. Will the senior planner please advise the committee on how notice of this meeting was given?
Through you, Mayor Latchford, notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act RSO 1990 as amended, with public circulation to all registered landowners within 120 meters of the subject property on July 7th, 2021, and a sign was posted on the property on that same day.
Okay, thank you. We will now proceed with the public meeting. Our first one is James Murphy and Linda Moore, agents LLF Lawyers, LLP, care of Joe Grant, and it's Z11-2021, bylaw number 82, 2021, concession 3, part of lots 5, geographic Alnwick. So I'll let you go with those recommendations now, Jennifer.
Certainly, through you, Mayor Latchford. This application for a zoning bylaw amendment is to rezone a 0.05 hectare parcel of land from the rural residential exception 1 zone to the limited service residential zone. It is required as a condition of consent application AH04-2020, which was conditionally approved last year, and it would add the consent application would add a 0.05 hectare parcel of land to a property on the south shore of Rice Lake. There were a series of lot additions on a private road called Montgomery Road. The shoreline properties don't have, some of the shoreline properties don't have frontage on Montgomery Road. So the lot addition applications would add a small section of property to the waterfront properties, giving them direct access to Montgomery Road, and then they would have an easement over Montgomery Road, providing them access to Curtis Point Road. So the benefiting parcel to which the lot addition lands would be added is zoned limited service residential. So in order to have have all of the property zoned in the same zone, the lot addition lands, it's recommended that they be rezoned to the limited service residential zone also. As mentioned, there's no development. A new lot was not being constructed, developed at that point in time. It was simply a lot addition parcel being added to a developed property. The application has been reviewed by agencies. No agency concerns were identified. The property is located in the rural area of the municipality. Lot additions are permitted. The application's consistent with the provincial policy and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. A hydrologic evaluation was not required because no new developable lot was being created. While portions of the retained lot have been identified with provincially significant wetland, those lands are quite far away from the property subject to this application, and there are no regulated lands on the lot addition lands. Now, the actual shoreline lands are partially regulated by the Conservation Authority because they are within 30 meters of Rice Lake. So the recommendation is that the lands be rezoned to the limited service residential zone consistent with the benefiting parcel.
Okay. Any comments from the applicant? I don't see anyone on for the applicant. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. Council, do you have any comments? None? Okay. I'll call for the motion then on this one. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Phillips, second by Councillor Hogg. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Just let me ask you, Jennifer, before we move on, have we just about got all of these properties to this stage? I know there was a few who were rejecting, a few owners, but it brings everything into conformity if they do this and meet the road.
That's correct, that it would. However, there are a number of properties, I don't know the exact number, maybe 5 or so, that have not participated in this process to date.
Okay. Well, hopefully someday they do. Thank you. Our next rezoning is David, Roger, and Diane Knight, Z-12-2021, bylaw number 83, 2021, concession 1, part of lot 2, geographic Haldeman. And I'll let Jennifer take us through this one as well.
Through you, Mayor Latchford. This is an application for a zoning bylaw amendment to permit an outdoor swimming pool in the front yard, so in front of an existing single detached dwelling. The property is zoned rural residential, and it would permits a single detached dwelling and an accessory swimming pool. However, our zoning bylaw contains a requirement. It's section 4.2.11 of the Township of Alma-Caldeman zoning bylaw, which states that a swimming pool is permitted in an interior or rear yard. And in this case, they want to install the swimming pool in the front yard. Now, this dwelling is constructed quite far back on the property. I believe it's about 128 meters from the front lot line. So it's really pushed back far on the property. So it's not like the swimming pool would be right up next to the front yard. In fact, I believe they have said that the pool will be set back a minimum or approximately 120 meters from the front lot line, which there are some rural residential lots that aren't even 120 meters deep. It's just given this lot configuration. There's a slope on the property. Behind the house, it's a wooded area. And there is no issue with a pool in the front yard in this case. The application was reviewed by all of the appropriate agencies, and no concerns were expressed. There's no environmental features that would preclude having a swimming pool in this location. It's set back far enough from the road so that it won't be a safety hazard. Excuse me. The recommendation is that the application be approved, and subject to that a swimming pool, in-ground swimming pool in the front yard be permitted, subject to a 120-meter setback from the front lot line.
Okay, thank you. Also with this property, it's really, it's not just a slope, it's a pretty high hill. And in all probability, most people won't even realize that that pool is there, so. Okay, council, any comments?
Yes, I do
Any-
have one.
Okay,
I'm just wondering, Jennifer, if there is any consideration of any neighbors nearby with regards to this application, simply because if I'm not mistaken, all of the neighbors around that area have their pools in the backyard. So this would be a precedent, certainly in this area. I just wondered about your comment there, Jennifer.
I've received no public comments from anybody, and they would have received circulation of the applications. All landowners within 120 meters receive public notification of the application, and I've received no comments. And each planning application is reviewed on its own merits. So and the two adjacent properties to the directly to the east and the west, those houses are also set back quite a piece from the property also. So it's not like it's in the Glens of Antrim or something like that, where you've got a subdivision with a number of houses like that. There are, and I have received no applications, but again, each planning application is reviewed on the merits of the application.
Okay, that's great. That was my sense when I drove by there, and that was my question as a result. But that's great. Thank you, and appreciate it.
any comments from Mr. Knight? Seeing none. Any comments from the public? Seeing none. Okay. Could I have a motion, please, council? Deputy Mayor Gibson
Yeah, motion to approve.
and Councillor Phillip, I see his hand, is going to second. Okay. Anything further? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. The next one is Lyle Gallagher, Z-13-2021, bylaw number 84, 2021, concession 3, part of lot 14, geographic Alnwick.
Excuse me, Mayor Latchford. I have someone in the waiting room. I'm just going to let them in.
Okay.
Morning, caller. I'm going to put you on mute. Thank you.
Okay. Jennifer, are you ready to take us through this one? Lyle Gallagher.
Certainly. Through you, Mayor Latchford. This is an application for a zoning bylaw amendment on a property located north of 5952 Minnetonka Road in part of lot 14, concession 3, geographic Alnwick. This application is required as a condition of consent for a consent application AH 10-2020, which was approved by the Land Division Committee on September 24th, 2020. With that consent application, a 0.4 hectare rural residential lot was created in a rural area of the municipality outside of the Oak Ridges Moraine. There are no environmental features on the property, and MDS calculations were prepared at the time of the consent application. The proposed or the conditionally approved severed lot is located outside of the MDS setbacks for barns in this area. The property is not located on the Oak Ridges Moraine. No public comments or concerns have been raised with respect to the application. And the property is currently designated rural in the official plan. It's zoned rural, environmentally sensitive areas on Schedule A of the zoning bylaw, and a portion of the property, which is not subject to this application, is located on the Oak Ridges Moraine. So though that portion of the property is zoned Oak Ridges Moraine Countryside, Oak Ridges Moraine Environmental, and Oak Ridges Moraine Plan Review. So the proposed severed lot, or the conditionally approved severed lot, is located outside of the Oak Ridges Moraine, but a portion of the retained lands is within the moraine. The consent is permitted because it's on those lands outside of the Oak Ridges Moraine. There are some aggregate operations in this general vicinity. However, the proposed conditionally approved severed lot is located outside of the influence area for those aggregate operations. So the recommendation is that this application be approved and that the land subject to the application be rezoned to the rural residential zone, which requires a minimum lot area of 0.4 hectares and 45 meters of frontage on a municipally maintained road, which in this case is Minnetonka Road. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and the Oak Ridges Marine Conservation Plan, and maintains the intent of the Township of Alma-Calderman official plan. So the recommendation is that the rezoning be approved.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant on and would like to make any comments on this? No? Anyone from the public wishing to make any comments or have any questions? Seeing none. Council, any comments or questions? No? Okay, I'll call for the motion on this one, Z-13 2021. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Okay, and second? Councillor Booth? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so our next item is item 10. Business arising from the previous minutes under rezoning. Renaud Schutz, Z-07-2021, bylaw number 52-2021, concession 7, part of lot 24, geographic Almec, brought forward from May 27th, 2021 meeting. The consent was approved this morning, so we'll let Jennifer take us through this one as well.
Yes, this was an application for a zoning bylaw amendment that would satisfy a condition of consent that was approved earlier in this meeting. With this application, the recommendation was that the application be deferred pending completion of a hydrologic evaluation as required by the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, because there is a wetland on the property, and this is development within 120 meters of a key hydrologic feature. The property is located on the south side of Sandy Bay Road. A public meeting was previously held at the May 27th, 2021 meeting. At that time, again, the application was deferred, to allow the applicant time to consult with the Conservation Authority to see if there was a lot configuration that would permit an entrance on the retained lands. There has been no contact with the Conservation Authority by the applicant, and I've contacted Lower Trent, who's confirmed that the entire frontage on the retained land is regulated by the Conservation Authority, and they would not be able to issue a permit for it. So with the approval of the consent and the zoning bylaw amendment, the retained lands wouldn't be able to be developed because they wouldn't be able to get an entrance into them. The severed lot would be able to be developed because it does have frontage outside of the regulated area. So the application was to rezone those lands to the rural residential zone. And it would need to be a rural residential exception zone because it doesn't meet the 45-meter frontage requirement of the rural residential zone. The retained lands will meet the lot area and frontage requirements for the rural zone, so it would not need to be rezoned. So with this application, if council chooses to approve it, the property would need to be rezoned to a rural residential exception number. And I'm going to see if Susan could let me know what number the next rural residential exception number would be, because the recommendation was that the application be deferred. But if council chooses to approve it, it will need to, the recommendation would be, or not the recommendation, the motion would be to rezone the property to the rural residential exception blank zone to permit a lot with a reduced frontage of 38.1 meters instead of the normally required 45 meters.
So within that, Jennifer, we did have in the original bylaw 52-2021,
Okay.
the rural exception number of 60, the rural residential number of 60.
Thank you, Susan. So the bylaw has been prepared and is available in the bylaw section of this agenda. And it does include a reduced setback. Sorry, not a reduced setback, a reduced frontage requirement.
For the severed lot.
Correct.
Okay. And could that have been done by a minor variance?
The property needed to be rezoned anyways because the property is currently zoned rural. So in order to make him do it would be even more to make him do a rezoning to rezone it to rural residential and then make him do a minor variance to reduce it to 38.1 seems redundant.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an entrance into that severed piece.
Yes, on the severed property, they can get an entrance permit. There's area outside of the regulated area.
Okay, so what you're saying is there isn't a spot across that retained of 66.52 where there can be an entrance?
That's correct.
There isn't.
That entire area is regulated by the Conservation Authority. In fact, in the report for the severance, there was the map from the Conservation Authority that identified the regulated area, and the regulated area actually extends onto the severed lot, but there is sufficient room on the severed lot for an entrance permit for an entrance. But the entire frontage, probably 2/3 of the frontage of the retained lot is actually a verified wetland along that frontage, and the remaining third is within the regulated area. And I've confirmed with the Conservation Authority that they would not be able to issue a entrance permit.
Okay. To me, that just seems strange. There isn't a bulrush or anything that grows in the wetland in that front and that ditch when you go and look at it. That's just my...
Through you, Mayor Latchford. Lower Trent did do a site visit and they undertook a wetland evaluation In order to evaluate a wetland, there are a number of criteria that have to be addressed. I'm not a wetland evaluator. However, there are 4 key components, one of them being vegetation, hydric soils, connectivity, and I forget what the 4th one is. And those have to be evaluated, and they did do a site visit. So
Yeah, well, I'm
those are the
not
comments
either,
we
but-
received.
I'm not either, but
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's stretching it quite far. Are there any other comments from council? Okay. What do you want to do with this application, council? Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Gonna put forward a motion to approve with going along Jennifer's direction, rural residential exception number 16 to permit lot within residential frontage of 38.1 meters. Does that cover it, Jennifer?
Yes, through you, Mayor Latchford. Yes, and the bylaw is presented in the bylaws section of this, so you can vote on the bylaw at that point. Just to confirm that it's bylaw 60.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And do I have a second for that?
I can second that, Councillor Hogg.
Okay. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay, now we'll go into the bylaws. The first one is bylaw number 82-2021, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended by the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for James and Murphy and Linda Moore, concession 3, part of lot 5, geographic Alnwick, be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July, 2021. I should have said at the start, be it resolved that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Phillip, second.
I can second
Councillor
that.
Hogg. All in favor? All were in favor, the motion's carried. Bylaw number 83-2021, be it resolved that bylaw number 83-2021, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019, as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for David, Roger, and Diane Knight, concession 1, part of lot 2, geographic Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July 2021. Have a mover, please.
Councillor Phillip will move that.
And I see Councillor Booth was second. All in favor? All were in favor, carried. Unanimous. The next one is bylaw number 84-2021. Be it resolved that bylaw number 84-2021, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman for Lyle Gallagher, concession 3, part of lot 14, geographic Alnwick, to be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July, 2021. Can I have a mover, please?
I can move that, Councillor Hogg.
Okay, I saw Mike's hand up first, so I'll take Mike and Jim as a second. Is that okay?
That's fine.
That's what I saw. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number, this is now 60-2021. Being a bylaw, or be it resolved that bylaw number 60 2021, being a bylaw to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 19-2019 as amended of the Township of Almac Haldeman for Reynolds Chute, Concession 7, part of Lot 24, geographic Almac, be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July, 2021. Have a minute.
Mayor Latchford, can I confirm with Jennifer there that should be bylaw 52-2021?
Oh, okay, so the rural residential exception is 60.
Yes.
Okay, so I shouldn't change that. Got it. Sorry about that. Okay, council, it's bylaw number 52-2021. Have a mover, please. Sherry? Second?
I can second that.
Councillor Hall? All in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 92-2021. Be it resolved that bylaw number 92-2021, being a bylaw to repeal interim control bylaw number 68-2021 of the Township of Almac Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July 2021. And this one is on the cannabis, Jennifer?
Through you, Mayor, sorry, yes, through you, Mayor Latchford. This is a bylaw to repeal the interim control bylaw for cannabis.
Yeah.
The zoning bylaw amendment that was approved at the June meeting, the appeal period expired yesterday. So the regulations are now in force and effect, so we can repeal the interim control bylaw.
Okay.
Okay, that's what was going on.
Okay. Council, could I have a mover, please?
Yeah, I'll move that. Now
Right,
that I understand it.
okay, and you're in favor of doing that to
Yep.
approve? Yes, and Councillor Booth, I saw you were seconding that. Any comments from council on this one? If there are any questions for Jennifer? Seeing none? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Planning reports. This one is on the tower on County Road 29. Be it resolved that Council Report number 2021-PED 39 from Jennifer Current, Senior Planner, dated July 29th, 2021. Land Squared Communication Tower Proposal be received and filed. Could I have a mover, please?
I can put that on the table.
Okay, and second by Deputy Mayor Gibson. Do you have any questions on this one since it's a bit different?
No.
No? Do you have any explanation on this one, Jennifer? It's pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. We've received a proposal for a communication tower on County Road 29. They're going through the process established in the township's protocol. A public meeting will be held in August, and they're going through the process. And the township municipalities don't regulate communication towers, the federal government does.
Yes.
But their submissions to the federal government, they want a letter of concurrence from the municipality. So once they go through the process, we'll see if there are any public concerns that haven't been addressed that would prevent you from giving a letter of concurrence.
Okay, thank you. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. Are there any announcements or notice of motion? Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Yes, thank you. Most of you are aware, I've forwarded you some complaints that I've got from residents of Roseneath Landing in regard to a couple of properties in their community that have been turned into rental properties. And I've had 4 written complaints, 2 verbal complaints, and really they all speak to the same issues. There's past what we would consider normal residential hours, loud music, profanity, shouting and screaming and partying and fireworks. And so they're all asking if there's something that the township can do to control that, because it's severely impacting on their quality of enjoyment of their property. So I know Fire Chief Dawson is working on something in regard to fireworks, but I'm just hoping that we can, I'd like to give direction to staff to investigate if there's anything we can do in terms of licensing of these short-term rental properties.
Okay. We also have the same issue at Curtis Point, and I've received a number of complaints there last year. So the
Yeah.
staff are aware of that, but
Yeah.
and
So
have
what
gone out and seen. But it's going to continue if we don't get something in place.
Yeah. So Jennifer, I can put together a report that lists the complaints and I can sort of probably print off the emails and just PDF it to you if that would be helpful, or whether you just want those. I think I stopped individually forwarding the complaints because there was a few of them and they were repeating the same concerns, and I thought I would just bring it forward to this meeting. So whatever if you want some follow-up from me, I can do that.
Certainly, through you, Mayor Latchford. If you would like to forward us the complaints, I know I have received some of them in advance of this meeting. We can put together a report on options for managing short-term rentals and bring it forward to the September meeting. Well, I'll try to have it for the September meeting. I am going away for a couple of weeks in August, so I'll try for the September meeting to get a report together. It'll need some, I believe, licensing. Actually, it's not through the Planning Act, it's through the Municipal Act.
Okay.
So I'll need to discuss it with the acting municipal clerk with respect to that, because it's through the Municipal Act that the municipality can license businesses.
I have warned everybody that who's sent me a complaint that it will take time.
Okay.
If anything if we're to undertake this, that it wouldn't be an immediate solution, but that it would, the staff are concerned also and would be, working on something.
I will start working on it. I can't promise it for the September meeting, but we'll start working on the report and see we'll need to do some research. And I know that there are other municipalities that do regulate them. We'll have to look into how they're doing it exactly and what our options are, but we will start a report on that and bring it forward to council.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And one thing, Jennifer, that the guests don't seem to understand or realize or maybe care is where the actual boundary lines are of the place they're renting. And they're encroaching on neighbors and parking areas, etc. So it's a growing concern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else, Sherry?
That's all. Thank you.
Councillor Phillip?
I have nothing at this time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Councillor Booth? Okay. Councillor Hogg?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. And myself, I don't have anything at this time either. So item 14 is the approval of our bylaw 91/2021. Be it resolved that bylaw number 91-2021, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal planning meeting of Thursday, June 24th, 2021, be read and deemed to be passed this 29th day of July, 2021. Have a mover, please. Mike, Councillor Philp, second, Councillor Booth, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And be it resolved that the planning meeting be adjourned at 10:06. Have a mover, please. Sherry, second. Jim, all in favor? Carried. Okay, see you this afternoon. Thanks, everyone.
You.
Gail, you don't need, do you need any help prior to 1 o'clock?
Pardon?
Do you need any help prior to 1 o'clock?
No, I just have to show up.
Okay,